Welcome back to the channel everyone, and if you are new, my name is Thermal, and today I'll be doing another timeline video here on the channel. This timeline will be from the beginning of the Black Ops series. This will be about the Apothegons, Dr. Monty, the Shadow Man, and what happened at the very beginning to make all of our characters meet. So, if you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe, or just do it if you want to. I am not forcing you to, but you can do it if you want to. It'll be very much appreciated. But for now, let's get straight into this. In the beginning, there were only the Aether and the Keepers. Among them were two beings who would later be known by many names. One would be known as Dr. Monty, the other being as the Shadow Man. In time, the Keepers crafted the Summoning Key, a device that allows them to manipulate the Aether. Holding power over reality itself, they use it to create Agartha. The Keepers later mastered the ability to travel between dimensions. At some point, several Keepers, among which the Shadow Man was one of them, began experimenting with the Dark Aether, an energy beneath creation. The Dark Aether corrupted and corroded their souls, and the corrupted Keepers became known as the Apothegons. The Apothegons created the Aether Pyramid, a device capable of absolute power. A schism formed between them and the Keepers untamed by the Dark Aether. Soon after, a war broke out between Apothegons and uncorrupted Keepers. Facing defeat, the Apothegons hid the Aether Pyramid on a moon within one of the newly discovered dimensions. After banishing the Apothegons to the Dark Aether, the remaining Keepers took on the mantle of Guardians. Trapped in the Dark Aether, the Apothegons evolved over years into the twisted creatures that now bear little resemblance to their Keeper brethren. They desire above all else to return to their home, Agartha. By September 5th CE, the Apothegons, knowing the Earth has a gateway to Agartha, sent meteoroids containing element 115 to the planet in different dimensions across space and time. They believe humanity will one day use element 115 to wage war among themselves, opening a rift that will allow the Apothegons to escape the Dark Aether. Now we are moving to the Great War. On January 15th, 1292, the Great War between humanity, including the Wolf King, and the Apothegons, began across dimensions. During the war, Sir Pablo was saved from the clutches of a Magua by four heroes known as Primus. On December 31st, 1299, after more than 7 years of war, Primus, with the Keepers and the rest of humanity, defeated the Apothegons, bringing the Great War to an end. Before they seemingly disappeared from history, Primus instructed the Wolf King to begin building his castle that would later be known as Der Eisendrache. Several years later, honouring the Wolf King's dying request, his loyal servant Arthur scattered and buried his bones in the grounds of the castle Der Eisendrache, accompanied by the King's Wolf. Arthur was then teleported by temporal rifts to Resolution 1295 in 2025 Angola. Now we're going to go to the Ultimus story, and in another video I am going to be doing the Primus story. In 1885, a blacksmith named Jebediah Brown was living in a mining town called Purgatory Point in the Old West. The mine contained large amounts of element 115, which started to affect people who went down there. One of the miners turned into a zombie and attacked Jebediah's mother. Wanting to find answer, Jebediah went down in the mines, where he spent 5 days without realizing it. Later on, April 19th, Jebediah had a vision in his sleep. Two angels asked him to build a machine, a pack-a-punch machine, which became a success in the town. On June 30th, Jebediah had another vision. The two angels asked him to create an Agarthan device. The Agarthan device had 3 components: the blood of an elder god found at the bottom of the ocean, an elemental shard created by forging 4 human souls to a rock of element 115, and a metallic vril vessel. Jeb managed to craft the vessel, but he had no means of obtaining the blood or the souls. After crafting the vril vessel, Jebediah upgraded it with the pack-a-punch. As a result of this, and fracturing of the Earth after Ultimus helped Maxis launch rockets from the moon in 2025, a temporal rift was created, transporting the entire town, including Jebediah, to an underground cavern in Angola. Afterwards, zombies began to overrun the town, killing its inhabitants, including Jebediah, and also this town was buried under the ground. On June 30th, 1908, a meteorite containing element 115 crashed near the stony Tunguska River in Siberia. Over the next decades, more deposits of element 115 were discovered in Germany, Japan, the United States of America, and on the Moon. In 1931, after a large deposit of element 115 was found in Breslau, Dr. Ludwig Maxus formed Group 935 as an international German-led research team, becoming its head scientist. The Dörreis facility was established at Breslau. Maxus sought to use the newly discovered element to improve the human condition by developing advanced technologies. He invited Dr. Edward Richtofen, who would later be known as Ultimus Richtofen, to join a Group 935. Richtofen agreed, secretly acting on behalf of the Illuminati's interests. By 1939, Maxus and Ultimus Richtofen were working on the first teleportation experiments, with a matter transference prototype. The experiments were unsuccessful. The subjects were teleported, but their chemical composition was altered, leaving them catatonic and changed. Ultimus Richtofen also began the development of the Wanderwaffe DG-2. In the same year, Maxus turned to the Nazi Party for additional funding. They agreed to the request, expressing interest in Group 935's weapon research, teleportation technology, and the reanimated undead subject to help them win the war. Ultimus Richtofen and Dr. Schuster continued working on teleportation and successfully teleported a walnut during test trial 151. The result, however, failed to impress Maxus, who revealed to Ultimus Richtofen that Group 935 would be soon funded by Nazi Germany. Ultimus Richtofen worried this would lead to mass defections. He decided to continue the experiments with Schuster behind Maxus's back. In early 1940, Ultimus Richtofen and Schuster conducted the first human teleportation test. Ultimus Richtofen was so confident in its success that he volunteered himself. He was teleported to the Moon, where he encountered the Aether Pyramid, calling it MPD. While inspecting the device, Ultimus Richtofen was electrocuted and began hearing many voices of corruption, including the Shadowmans. He was then teleported to Shangri-La in the Himalayas, where he was worshipped by the natives, who built an altar in his name. Ultimus Richtofen also encountered the Focusing Stone for the first time. Corrupted by the dark ether, Ultimus Richtofen was gradually driven insane by an obsession to reach Agartha. Ultimus Richtofen returned to Dörreis a few weeks later with a plan to build a station on the Moon called Griffin Station. He also renounced his involvement with the Illuminati. Frustrated with Maxus's alignment with Germany, other disgruntled Group 935 scientists joined his cause. Several months later, Maxus contacted the High Command requesting additional funds, stating that Dörreis lacked not only the funding, but a sufficient volume of element 115 as well. In response to his request, Nazi Germany built two new facilities in Berlin for Group 935. They were known as the Kino Facility and the Asylum Facility. The Imperial Japanese Army handed over the Rising Sun Facility to Group 935, which collaborated with Division 9 at the facility site. Group 935 also established a facility in Siberia near the Tunguska River and a research facility at Der Eisendrache called Eagle's Nest. By 1942, Griffin Station was complete. Ultimus Richtofen appointed Dr. Groff as lead scientist and tasked him and Schuster to discover a way to power the MPD. While at the Rising Sun facility, Maxus developed the ray gun prototype, while H. Porter worked on the second generation model. In May 1942, after soldiers returned from Africa, Ultimus Richtofen reported that they found a number of artifacts from an American town. Among the artifacts and documents recovered were pieces of the Pack-Punch machine from Jebediah Brown. Ultimus Richtofen gave the schematics to H. Porter to replicate Brown's work. Ultimus Richtofen also discovered plans for the Agarthan device and the Vril vessel, as well as the Vril device. On June 13, 1942, as a result of temporal rifts caused by Ultimus travelling through time to reach the Kino facility in 1963. Dr. Monty reached across time and space and offered little nudges. One nudge is helping Group 935 to develop Element 115 fused elixirs. They created 4 medical beverages known as Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, and Double Tap. At Griffin Station, Groff and Scuster unwittingly discovered how to charge the MPD when Scuster killed a rat near the device. Its death inexplicably began charging the device by filling its tank. They reported their findings to Ultimus Richtofen, who began sending soldiers and scientists to be sacrificed to charge the MPD. By the end of 1942, Maxis expressed concern over Element 115's impact on Ultimus Richtofen's behaviour. Although no longer trusting him, he left his daughter Samantha in Ultimus Richtofen's care, as Maxis himself was transferred to the Kino facility with his assistant Sophia to focus on creating Germany's undead army. In 1943, Nikolai Belensky, who would later be known as Ultimus Nikolai, was captured during the Battle of Stalingrad and became a test subject for Group 935. The same year, Takeo Masaki, who would later be known as Ultimus Takeo, was captured by Group 935 on the orders of the Emperor. In 1944, Pablo Marinas, a Mexican spy, was captured by Group 935 at Der Eisendrache. In his cell, Pablo wrote of visions of a great war. He described a great battle against strange demon-like creatures who were trying to devour the earth. In his visions, he saw 4 knights protected him from certain death. He made a note that the knights wore tunics similar to the statues in Der Eisendrache. In 1945, OSS operative Peter McCain infiltrated Group 935. In July 1945, Richtofen travelled to the Siberian facility to do further research on live specimens. As he temporarily guardian, he took Samantha with him. Ultimus Richtofen also brought the Vril device with him. Several days after his arrival, a reporter was arrested near the facility. When Ultimus Richtofen interrogated him, the reporter revealed he was working for Mr. Rapt, who was looking for several artifacts, among them the Vril vessel. After Ultimus Richtofen refused to give him the vessel, he ordered the guards to kill the reporter. On August 1945, Group 935 began to transfer 3 test subjects for experimentation: Ultimus Nikolai, Pablo Marinas, and Ultimus Takeo. Ultimus Richtofen began experimenting on them few days after their arrival. Ultimus Richtofen also started looking at a way to create an elemental shard in order to build the Argatham device. Suspecting Group 935 would lose control of their experiments, Peter's handler, Cornelius Parnell, sent a Marine recon team led by Tank Dempsey, who would later be known as Ultimus Dempsey, to extract McCain, whose cover had been blown. In September 1945, during an operation with Harvey Yenner, another American spy, Ultimus Richtofen extracted Pablo Marinas' spleen. He noted that the barrier to unlock the human mind was not located in the spleen. Believing Marinas dead, they dumped him into the river. However, Pablo survived and would later awaken in a pocket dimension at the bottom of the river, before swimming back to the Siberian facility, where he would remain for the next 20 years. Several days later, the recon team arrived at the asylum facility where an outbreak occurred. Ultimus Dempsey was captured and sent to Ultimus Richtofen in Siberia to replace Pablo Marinas. Ultimus Richtofen continued experimenting on Ultimus Dempsey, Nikolai and Takeo, and documented the personality traits of his test subjects. Dempsey's intellect seemed low, but his will was strong. Takeo was still staring at the floor, muttering what sounds like some kind of proverb over and over again. Nikolai had recently begun responding to stimuli, before only after injections of a new serum made primarily from vodka. Ultimus Richtofen noticed that their minds had been almost entirely broken, with no memory remaining of who they once were. While at the Siberian facility, Ultimus Richtofen also experimented on Samantha. And there you go everyone, that is the storyline of the characters and how they met at the very beginning of the Black Ops series. If you like those timelines videos, make sure to like and subscribe, put a comment down saying that you've watched the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. But for now, goodbye.